Okay guys, what I'm about to show you is how we can have an unkillable Strand Hunter that also gets 15-second supers. Let me repeat that. Unkillable with 15-second supers. And we all know how great the 3 strand supers can be for each class. I'm super excited to show you this, and I'm going to pause the video here and there to make sure you understand how we are accomplishing this. This is kind of like a live build video. This is the legendary campaign, so we are 15 power level under in here. So remember that. Now we're going to grapple in here with our hunter. That is our first grapple, and that is our point of which we're going to be using the grapple over and over on for infinite grapple. We're going to go to the left here and hit this one little hobgoblin, and what's going to happen is we killed it and we spawned 2 orbs of power. So every powered melee you do, you get 2 orbs of power from it, which is just great, but that provides the woven mail buff to give us some insane damage reduction just to keep us alive on top of some other things that we're going to add to it. So now we're going to turn around and use that same grapple point and look at the group of enemies down here and watch our super bar here in the bottom left. As you can see, we don't have very much. We're going to go in here, hit this one group, and look at that super. Almost half our super from that one group of enemies, and we're generating those orbs of power, keeping woven mail up and staying alive. Next, we're going to use the same grapple point, turn around, another group of enemies, and watch that super bar again down here in the bottom left. Boom, 3/4 off of that one. We're going to turn around, hit the same grapple, finish off these last 2 enemies, finish off the Minotaur here, and look what happens. That's our super in about 15 seconds. There's also still 4 orbs of power that I left here on the ground. Let's go grab those. But seriously, this is crazy. I think it's one of my favorite builds I've ever done. This is a good example here of what happens. We enter this room, we pop our super, we kill this Cyclops and all these enemies that spawn in. We use our super, we just used it. We're gonna enter this room. We're gonna set this grapple point right in the middle, okay? We go in, this is 1 melee, look in the bottom left, that's 1/4 of our super from that 1 melee. We use the same grapple point, hit another group of enemies, that's over half of our super on our second melee, our second powered grapple melee, and here comes our third, and look at that super. That is 3/4 off 3 powered melees. That's it. 3/4 of super off 3 powered melees. I mean, this is pretty crazy when you think about it. And I could be playing this better. I'm not even using my suspend dive that I should be using. Diving to the ground, suspending targets, especially higher health targets like yellow bars. And here's a good example right here of yellow bars that I should have used the dive on and I didn't. This wyvern spawns in, we hit him 3 times, and I should have suspended him right here with the dive, and I didn't even do that because, you know, I suck. But seriously, we're at 0 super because we just used it. This is 3 enemies here, okay? But they are yellow bars, so we get a bit more super from them. We get 1/4 of our super for killing that Minotaur. We get another 1/4 for killing this second Minotaur here, all while staying alive with this wyvern right on top of us. We hit him a 3rd time and then a 4th time, if I can get it down correctly. And this gives us 3/4 of our super. That's crazy. Right now we have half a super in the bottom. We hit these 4 enemies right here, get another 1/4, grapple on up, hit these 4. There's another super. And I want to show you this next clip that's pretty important because it shows a little bit better on what you should be doing with the dive aspect, right? We get out of our super. There's a wyvern over there, which is a high health target. Got to be kind of worrisome, right? And we have the goblins around him. But what we're going to do is actually use the suspend, right? Our dive, and suspend this guy in the air and just watch what happens. So we have 0 super right now. We get off our melee, dive to the ground, suspend, use the exact same grapple point, and just go to town on all these enemies. Same grapple point, melee again, and this is an AoE melee, so as you can see, it's hitting that Minotaur down there and actually killing him. We hit him off with 1 more melee, and that's 3/4 of our super, genning a ton of orbs off of 4 goblins, a Minotaur, and a wyvern, which is just crazy. Okay, let's go over the overall build. As you can see here, we only have 100 resilience, only 60 recovery, 24 mobility. We did have 90 discipline, but again, 100 resilience is really the only thing that you want to take advantage of. You need that grapple melee, and again, right here it says grapple to a tangle immediately recharges your grenade energy. During and shortly after grappling, your melee attack deals area damage and unravels targets. That's our big powered melee that we do every time we grapple. Our 2 aspects are Widow Silk and Ensnaring Slam, dive to the ground to suspend enemies, and also we get a second grapple charge, and your grapple creates a grapple tangle at the grapple point. That's our first grapple and how we make that point. We're going with Threat of Generation, so dealing damage generates grenade energy. Threat of Warding, picking up an orb of power grants woven mail. This one's really important because it's 60% damage reduction on top of anything else that we're going to be doing. We have Thread of Continuity, Suspend, Unravel, and Sever effects applied to have increased duration, so when we do suspend something and unravel something, it lasts longer. And then Thread of Mind, defeating suspended targets grants class ability energy to just loop back into Ensnaring Slam, which I should have been doing so much more often because I suck and I wasn't doing it enough. Weapons don't matter. Again, play into whatever you want. I had volatile rounds on my artifact, so I like void weapons with it. The exotic of choice we're going to be using is Assassin's Cowl. Powered melee final blows grant invisibility and restore a portion of health and shields. Finishers and final blows against more powerful targets increase the duration of the invisibility and the amount of health and shields that we restore. So this is how we're getting a big chunk of survivability on top of Woven Mail. This is going to give us a portion of our health every time that we kill something with that powered melee, and we go invisible to set ourselves back up to grapple again. Now that grapple that we use is a grenade, right? And the powered melee that comes from it is technically a melee. So when we're doing this grapple and melee combo, it actually counts as a grenade and a melee. I was pointed this out in my last video that I posted yesterday. A couple people commented down in the comment section, so thank you guys, I appreciate it. So since it counts as both, we can then throw on hands-on and double ashes to assets. That's how you're getting those huge super chunks, okay? So big super coming from the helmet. We also have our gauntlets, and we have firepower and heavy-handed on. These two are spawning those orbs of power for us and our entire fire team, and those orbs of power are what fuel our Woven Mail when we're playing solo and don't have a Titan or somebody else giving it to us. We also have Focusing Strike here, grants class ability energy when you cause damage with a melee attack. That counts with the grapple melee, so we're proccing this every 5 to 6 seconds to feed that class ability, so we should be suspending things with it, which of course I wasn't doing. On our chest piece, I just went with Solar Resistance and Void Resistance. With 2 resistance mods, with your Woven Mail from the subclass and your 100 Resilience, you're getting close to 80% damage reduction at base on a Strand subclass. And then on our class item, which I do think these are important as well, Better Already, your health begins to regenerate immediately after picking up an Orb of Power. I like this with Assassin's Cowl because Assassin's Cowl gives us a chunk of health and it also puts us invisible, but Better Already, when we grab the orb, then just fulls us to full health. We just get full health right off of this. We have Absolution, reduce all ability cooldowns each time you pick up an Orb of Power, again feeding right into our abilities. And Innervation, reduce grenade cooldown each time you pick up an Orb of Power. Remember, we're spawning those 2 Orbs of Power all the time, which means that all these are proccing all the time. On our class item, again, these could be whatever you want as well. I had Utility Kickstart and Distribution, so have fun with this. I hope you like it.